All right, so welcome to our May 30th Chapter Presidents meeting. Let me get this all hidden up there. We have a volunteer note taker. As always, we'll share the notes, the slides, and the recording post meeting. Usually I can get them on by later this afternoon. If not, it'll be first thing tomorrow morning. As we get started, this is our working agenda for today. There's always things that we end up discussing at the end of the meeting. So hopefully we can get through this and have enough time for some of that open discussion as well. Michelle, you want to give us an update on where we are on governing documents?
So the past, actually since January, we've been talking with you about implementing the new bylaws and then the chapter operating handbook within your local chapters. And some of this has even been updated since I last communicated with some chapters on Friday morning. We're down to just a couple of chapters we haven't heard from yet. Elm Fork, really North Texas. If you could let us know where you're at in the process of adopting the bylaws. And that's the number one thing we need to hear from you on. And then many of you are in various stages of updating and adopting your chapter operating handbook. And so as you are working on completing that, just send us a note or really follow the instructions on how to complete that part of the process with your chapter operating and handbook. So several of you, a number of chapters have already completed the chapter operating handbook in that process and implemented it. Some of you are in process, and then there's a couple of you who are still scheduling that. So just let us know as per the process as you move through that. And then just a reminder on the adoption process for the governing documents. Late last year and last year, we did update the Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct, the bylaws, chapter management operations protocols, and the chapter operating handbook template. And so all of those have been updated. Bylaws were to be implemented by realistically the end of January. We have some chapters in flux right now, so have given some grace periods there. And then to the process for updating and adopting is located at our website there that's been listed. And we've been talking about this every month since really last October. So we just have those contacts and links for you there. And then next slide. Just a reminder on the governing documents and the future of those. With this update of the documents, we did move to a 3-year cycle on updating all of the documents. So we're in the first year of that cycle right now, which we're over the next 3 years, we are completing or going through as you're implementing and as you're kind of using these documents. Let us know your feedback and suggested edits through the link that's there on the page. We'll be collecting the edits for the 3-year cycle, the next iteration of things that might need to be updated over the course of this next 3 years. So just because you send in something that's a suggestion doesn't mean it's going to be implemented right away, but it is being held for that 3-year cycle review and update as needed. All right. The other thing I wanted to mention today is with our 25th anniversary year starting in this year, starting in January, we've had the 25th anniversary storytelling project, where we are asking members to contribute their stories and share them as part of our 25th anniversary. You can scan the QR code to get started. And the next couple of slides, I included a couple of some of the stories that have been shared so far. And as a thank you to those who have submitted items so far, and then also congratulations on having your story shared through our social media. So 3 different stories here. as just a couple of examples of some of the things that we've been sharing through social media.
And stories don't have to be written. They could also be videos as well. We had a great video that was highlighted in this last weekend from one of our master naturalists, I believe in the Alamo area chapter. So great to see some faces and some projects highlighted in this storytelling project. Moving on to TMN Tuesdays, we've got the next couple of months worth of topics selected. We're going to tell you a little bit more about this coming month's project topic, and then the ones that end up all the way through October. So as mentioned, we have our June 13th TMN Tuesday in just a few weeks. Our July 11th one, I'm not going to go into detail about the July 11th presentation right now, but it is a joint President's and TMN Tuesday event. So it is, there will not be a President's meeting in July. That will be, or there will not be a separate President's meeting in July. That will be the President's meeting. And that's just because of how holidays fall and some state office closures that are coming up at the end of July. So our June 13th program is going to be hosted by Jason Singhurst and Tim Sigmund. They're still working on a title, but we've kind of internally called it Plants 201 as an advanced training on the plants unit. And if anybody has heard either of these two gentlemen plant nerd out, it's always a good time and always a great topic to hear these two kind of geek out about plants, prairie ecosystems, the whole 9 yards. And then as mentioned, our sneak peek of the upcoming month's worth of TMN Tuesday events. Our July event is going to focus on the upcoming eclipses that Texas is going to be witness to in October, and then the big one next April, and some training and some resources that we've worked with partners to curate to provide you guys with some resources for that April eclipse event. So this one's going to be a really good, really exciting meeting with some national speakers coming to talk about how to prepare for that event. So there will be more soon on that. August, we're going to work on fish. September is going to focus on birds. And then October is our project fair. And the reason why I wanted to give you these couple of months out is you'll notice a trend here. We're in this year's TMN Tuesdays, we're covering the units of our basic training curriculum. We're covering those units with advanced training on top of those unit focuses. So we're kind of following that lineage in the book. Some other requests that we have, some other things to keep on your calendar and things to add to our calendars, if you would please, is help us to share your upcoming training class. So as you have, and this link is inaccurate, and I'll fix that, and I'll drop the right one in the, actually, Kelly, if you're able to, can you drop the right one in the chat for me, please?
I got it.
Thank you. But our training class website that we have has all of our chapters upcoming training information. That's really helpful both for us at the state office as we get requests for from people that say, hey, I want to be a master naturalist and I live in Harris County. Do you know what's going on? We can grab that information and send it to those interested parties right away. But it also helps to get other folks to know where trainings are happening. So if you are a Harris County master naturalist and you want to know if there's another training nearby for some makeup classes, you have an idea of what other chapters in your area might be hosting trainings at that time or around those seasons. So please help us to fill that out if you have an upcoming training class this fall. Okay, and then I'm going to jump into annual meeting, if y'all are all right with that. All things annual meeting, and these slides haven't changed terribly much from last month, so I'm going to go through them and then kind of pause and y'all ask questions if you have any. So this is our countdown timeline, as you guys have seen before. Right now we are in proposal season. So we are still collecting our classroom proposals and our field session proposals from various speakers and locations around the Valley. We are going to be extending the deadline for that call for proposals and for the field session call for proposals. I've been meeting with the Rio Grande Valley chapter and the South Texas border chapter for the last couple of weeks. Y'all, they are so excited to have you guys come down to the Valley. It's intoxicating, their enthusiasm for this event and for getting to showcase their area. So they've got some great speakers, some wonderful field sessions lined up, and so we're still taking all of those in. My goal is to spend the month of June taking all of those proposals and field sessions and put them into an agenda, and then get you guys that agenda at the beginning of July so that you and the rest of your Master Naturalist members can get as excited as I am about this year's event, see the agenda, start to plan your trip. Registration will open in August, as it has traditionally always opened at the beginning of August. And then we'll have an early and a late registration August and September. We are moving a few things around, and we'll talk about contests in just a little bit more, but that deadline will be in the middle of September. And then you'll see some of the other dates later in September and October. So kind of breaking down into each part of that timeline, our call for proposals. We have the classroom presentations and the field session presentations. Those deadlines are being extended, where we need your help from across the state. So if you are I'm looking at Scott here, if you're a Master Naturalist up in the North Texas area, what I need you guys to do is to help us, one, spread the word about Save the Date for the annual meeting, but two, help to spread that call for proposals to speakers that you have heard of, that you think other Master Naturalists need to hear. Is there a great ornithology speaker? Is there a great geology speaker that you think needs to be showcased at the statewide level at our statewide annual meeting event? Share that call for proposals with that speaker, him or her, and ask them to join us in October. Looking at our agenda, so we've talked about this a few times. Our agenda is going to look a little bit different this year at this year's annual meeting, because we have a pretty big event happening on the Saturday of the meeting. That is our annular solar eclipse. We're going to take an all-conference field trip out to a private ranch that's giving us full access for the day, so that we can watch the annular solar eclipse with our fellow Master Naturalists. I was looking around my desk. We've got some fun gear that we're getting ready for that event. We've got, it's going to be pretty exciting. One of the things that Michelle and I hear over and over again from the annual meeting is, we love getting together, but we spend the whole time inside. Can we get outside with the annual meeting? We're getting outside this year. We're gonna spend the whole day, most of the whole day of that Saturday outside. So with this and thinking about travel considerations, knowing that the Valley is like a destination event for many of our Master Naturalists, it's a little bit of a hike. I want to encourage you to think about coming early and staying late. As your schedule allows, think about driving down a few days ahead of time, planning a few days later. Many of our hotels have that ability to block our room rate 3 days pre and 3 days post event, so that y'all can really take in the whole Valley and take in all the great sites and places to check out there. Speaking of lodging, we did release our lodging blocks a few months ago now, and most of them still have rooms. I did hear from the Home 2 Suites that they have filled their room block. That was one of our smaller room blocks, but many of all of our other hotels, to my knowledge, still have rooms available within their room block rates. All of our hotels are walkable. There are 2 that are easily walked, and then there are the other 2 that are a little bit more difficult walked. So you just pass underneath the interstate, and then this is about a block or so distance to the McAllen Convention Center. So not a terrible walk, but a little bit further to go under the interstate and right on over. And there are sidewalks in that area.
So there's a question in the chat that may impact somebody's travel and hotel dates, and they're asking about the Texas Waters Day. When would it be scheduled this year?
You know, I haven't finished confirming that with Melissa yet. We were talking about doing that Thursday morning, but I don't want to interfere with the field session dates. Sherry, I'll get back with you on that. Melissa and I have a catch-up meeting that we owe each other on our calendars. I'll get back with you on that. Any questions on the lodging or any other questions on the agenda? Again, we'll have a full agenda out early July. So that'll have the Waters Day, the field sessions, the classroom sessions, the exact timings. Which hotel did I say was closed? I believe it's the Home 2 Suites is the one. I know it is the Home 2 Suites that is booked up. Thank you. Thinking about this, getting ready for the annual meeting, many of our chapters are starting to think about contests and awards. We have 3 awards that we give out, contest/awards that we give out with each annual meeting. Those are the chapter advisor awards, the chapter project fair, and the video contest. Those are all pre-event entries, and so we have moved that deadline to September 15th. Normally it's at the end of September, but with this year's meeting being just a little bit earlier in the month, we needed to move that up. These are not on our website yet, but we are finishing up the final details and hope to have these out by the end of this week, if not early next week, so that y'all can start to see what those applications look like for those 3 awards and contests. The 4th contest is our photo art and media contest. The Rio Grande Valley and South Texas Border Chapter are partnering on this contest. They've got some great ideas, some great direction, and are gearing up for another great photo and media contest with those entries coming in during the month of September, closing at the end of September, and then being opened for voting during the annual meeting.
So we had a question about the video contest, and Cindy, it will be pretty well described in the video, in the information that comes out on the website. But real quick, we'll have a couple categories for the videos. We expect them to be 1 to 3 minutes, and we really want your chapters to use this the opportunity as a promo for your chapter and what you do. And so a video project could be something covering your chapter, what you do, the experience as a Texas master naturalist, a person's experience as a trainee. And then this year we're thinking about a category on any anniversary achievement or anniversary, highlighting a chapter's anniversary or the program's anniversary, which could kind of encompass all of those things all in one.
And the videos are 1 to 3 minutes in length. So they're not full feature length videos, but those snippet videos.
Oh, and you mentioned that the virtual volunteer fair, they're very different things. So the video contest is different from the virtual volunteer fair, and it's different from the photo art and media contest. So it is its own contest. When we get the contest and awards site, that portion of the site updated, there is some playlists on our YouTube channel of all of the videos that were submitted in past years or some of the past years. And I think the link that's there now, the annual meeting 2022 awards wrap up, that kind of links to some of what was submitted in all the categories last year as well, to give you some ideas.
Cindy, did you have another question? Do you want to unmute? Oh,
She might be
looks like she's.
frozen.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just pushing wrong buttons here. I was going to send a thumbs up instead of hands up.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. You answered my question.
Okay, perfect. Michelle, do you want to keep talking about some of the collection projects that you have going on?
Yes, so at our 20th anniversary, we did this beautiful 20th anniversary t-shirt quilt for the program and auctioned it off. And we'd like to do something similar for the 25th anniversary. So I sent a note to the listserv and mentioned this during our last month's meeting, but wanted to mention again. We'd love to have any of your old t-shirts from your chapter, anything that you've bought through the store, the Master Naturalist store that we have, through AgriLife Learn or previously AgriLife Bookstore. Any t-shirts that your chapter has developed with our logo, and you can see those here from years past. We'd like to incorporate them into the t-shirt quilt for the program and at the annual meeting again this year. And you can see on this quilt, even shirts with the front, like the little logo on the front of the shirt, where there might have been a bigger logo on the back and then the little Master Naturalist logo on the front. Like we're even including those too. You can see how those were incorporated in this the last quilt that we did. And then the new thing that I've asked for this year is, if I know we have several quilters in the group, or just dragonfly collectors, and sometimes that includes fabric. If you have kind of themed fabric that you think would go with the quilt, we welcome that as donations as well. So, and in order to get the project done in time, we're requesting this, all of this by August 5th. You can send to my office.
Great. Sorry, I was answering some questions in the chat about trying to work on the schedule to allow the chapter presidents to attend field sessions, and not overlapping the chapter presidents meeting with field sessions. And I absolutely will try my hardest to do that this year, because the Valley does have so many special places to go visit. I can't promise anything. It just depends on how many things we have to squeeze in, but I will try. Another request that we have alongside with the annual meeting is the request and an opportunity for sponsorships. So as many of y'all are aware of, our annual meeting is quite the hefty expense for the program, and it has a registration fee that is reliant on sponsorships to keep it at a reduced rate. For our Master Naturalist, our goal is to make the annual meeting a break-even event, and our registration as low as possible to make it as accessible as possible for all of our members. And that is only possible through the generous sponsorship of partners, organizations, chapters, and thank you to those chapters who have already sent in their sponsorship donations. We appreciate that. The Rio Grande Valley and South Texas Border chapter have also partnered on sending sponsorship requests out to some of their local contacts and their local conservation organizations. But if you, as a chapter leader, know of an organization, conservation group, or business that might make a good sponsor, please share that with me so I can share that with them. If it's a former employer, if it's a personal contact that you have that would help us to promote this sponsorship opportunity with that organization, we'd love to have that help. Every dollar that we get towards sponsorships helps to reduce that rate for registration for our attendees, and helps to provide those additional kind of perks of the annual meeting: more coffee, more food, more goodies when y'all get there. And as you can see, we have different levels of sponsorships and different opportunities with each of those levels. And all of this information is also on that website link that Michelle dropped in the chat. Okay, before we move on from annual meeting, is there any other questions about the annual meeting event? As we get closer, as Michelle said earlier, I think it's 134 days, 19 hours, and 48 minutes.
34 minutes now.
Okay.
But who's counting? Yeah.
We added the little counter to the website just for fun. All right. If y'all have any questions, if you hear members have questions, please help us to address those questions. We want to make sure that we get those addressed early so that, one, we've got the time before it gets crazy in September and October. And two, if you guys have a question, it's probably likely that somebody else has that same question. Okay, so talking about kind of wrapping this meeting up with a few extra resources that we have. We've had these same slides on the last couple of chapter presidents meetings, but we want to make sure that you guys are well aware of these and that your members are well aware of these. Our state website is our all things go-to place. So it's where all of our resources, our documents, our events, our links for the annual meeting, all of that is on our annual meeting, is on our website. There's even a handy dandy search tool in the top right if you're looking for something specific. I had somebody looking for the citizen science guiding documents the other day, and that's a quick search up in this top corner with the search bar to find that document if you don't know where it is in the hierarchy of pages. We also have Kelly meticulously updating the events calendar with some of our statewide events. So please check on that as well. And then our listserv. Many of our new chapter members that are joining your training classes, please make sure that they're aware that there's a listserv available to them if they'd like to join that. Speaking of upcoming events, our AgriLife IT team has brought the Tech Tuesdays back for our Master Naturalist WordPress managers. So if you are one of the chapters using our WordPress template for your website, they have these monthly training events once again. They are on the first Tuesdays of the month. The link is going to be the same link every single time. And so it's from 12 o'clock to about 12:45. By the time question and answers wrap up, I think the last one went to right at 1 o'clock. It was right at about an hour. And these events, they focus on a topic at the beginning. I believe he told me that the next one is on images, how to use them, how to create them, how to integrate alt text, a series of different topics on images, and that'll be the first 20 minutes, and then the last 20 to 25 minutes is that Q&A and open discussion, so y'all can showcase different questions. The next set of resources that we want to talk about is our merchandise. So there's two different types of merchandise that the Master Naturalist program has. We have our standard AgriLife Learn stock. That's our agrilifelearn.tamu.edu. That's our warehouse. That's shirts that are general, polos, hats, aprons that are general items that are always in our warehouse. I say always, that are in our warehouse and that get cycled every couple of months with new inventory dropping. I just restocked lanyards. I just restocked Columbia shirts. I dropped those boxes off last Monday. It was the Monday before last, 2 weeks ago now. So those are set. The second type of merchandise that we have is our pop-up store. We just closed our spring pop-up store with a series of kind of shirts and we had stickers with a different set of logos on it. Our 25th anniversary logo was on one, and then our standard logo was on the other one. There was an issue with our 25th anniversary logo. We are working on getting that fixed, and if you were part of that order, you should have gotten an email multiple emails from me talking about that. So that's just an FYI that did happen. They are fixing it. I got my shirt in the mail, and I even wore it this weekend. It's now my work shirt in my garden, so that works out great. But I'm getting a replacement shirt with the updated cleaned up logo. Were there any questions, Michelle? I saw something.
Yeah, there was a question about the 25th anniversary stuff, if there'd be another opportunity to order coming up.
Yes, so in the summer pop-up store, we're going to have more of the 25th anniversary merchandise. Again, I was showing you, I have my shirt here. The problem with the print was that they layered the inks in the wrong order. And then when they sized it too small. So everything got really blurry looking. So CC's is working on that. And once we get through that update, then I'll put a summer pop-up store out with more of the 25th anniversary merchandise. I have not restocked the chambray shirts. Those are on my next iteration of orders for the AgriLife Learn store. And then Terry actually saw your email this morning about the tablecloths being out of stock. And I was going to send a note to my contact to get some more of those as well. I saw your email, but I did not respond to it yet. So I'll make sure to get those. Some more items to keep on your radar of ways to promote your membership in the Master Naturalist program, promote your love for the program is the Master Naturalist license plate. I was actually in downtown Austin on my way to an event last week, and a friend of mine said, "Hey, I see you," because she saw my Master Naturalist license plate. She called me up and almost cut me off in traffic because she saw my license plate. But it was a good way to recognize a fellow Master Naturalist and friend. Another resource, another way to promote and show your appreciation for the Master Naturalist program is our endowment. This is the opportunity for us to provide additional funding resources for the Master Naturalist program through this established endowment that's hosted by the Texas A&M Foundation, a way to provide that perpetual funding into the program for new opportunities, new project development, chapter grants, etc. So this is something that was started back in 2016 and is slowly snowballing and growing to provide that new opportunity for the program. All right, Michelle, you want to take us home?
Yes, so looking ahead, short meeting today. Looking ahead, obviously we had the meeting today, May 30th. Our upcoming meeting in June is June 27th. That's our next Presidents and Advisors meeting. And then a couple of things on the resources side coming up. Our WordPress training, as Mary Pearl mentioned, on June 6th. And the TMN Tuesday, the Plants 201 session on June 13th. And then, as previously mentioned, our president's meeting at the end of the month in June. Some exciting things coming up for the joint meeting in July with the eclipse and kind of focusing on the eclipse. The eclipse is coming up. That'll be our crossover meeting in July for both the President's Advisors meeting and our TMN Tuesday. And then we'll have more information on the upcoming months in joint meetings there in the coming months. And then lastly, we didn't update this slide from the last meeting, but there's last month we mentioned if you have MOUs or MOAs that your chapter has been presented, you do need review and approval from the state office on that. And actually, one of the other thing that we've asked is if you could let us know about different grants and awards your chapters win at your local level, so we can help promote and advertise that fact on your behalf and as part of the accomplishments of the entire Master Naturalist program. And then I know there's some people in the chat who have mentioned this question. What questions do you have of each other right now? So we've got a bit of time left over today for you to kind of converse back and forth and ask questions. So yeah, let us know if you have questions of us or questions of each other.
And if you don't, then you've got some time back on your calendar. And like I said, we'll get the recording of today's event posted by this afternoon, if not first thing tomorrow. So with that, Michelle, there's actually a question in the chat. Lisa asked about the governing documents. They have turned in their updated COH, their chapter operating handbook. Do they need approval from us for their COH?
So we review it, but the way the COH is adopted is it actually isn't, you don't need our approval to have it adopted at the local chapter level. So you send your COH to us at the end, and we review it and save it from there.
I will say we have provided a template for your COH that follows the bylaws and the CMOP governing documents. So again, that structure is bylaws supersedes CMOP, which supersedes chapter operating handbook. If you want to self-create your own chapter operating handbook, you can, but be aware that that will not or may not follow all of those rules that are up the chain, so to speak, in the bylaws and the CMOP. It is easier, and I believe 98% of our chapters are following that template COH, that updated COH template. We did an updated COH template at the end of last year. So it's easier to use that because it does follow all of those preceding governing documents.
So there's a question in the chat about whether or not some chapters use TikTok. And I know that's something at our state level we're not able to use and promote just because our state government agencies are not able to use TikTok. But if your chapter is using that at your local level, let us know. Or let us know how you're using that.
Emily has a suggestion on the chapter operating governing documents about staggering them or sending out a summary of changes to make it easier. And those are things that we've heard that type of feedback before. So we've added that into our list. Thank you. Dan wants to know how does he know if his chapter documents are done? I don't think they're ever done, Dan. You don't get out of this. It's forever and ever.
Dan, do you mean that how do you know if your chapter has completed the process? Like, do you receive a notification from our office? Is that your question?
That's my question. I just want to know if they're done.
Oh, okay. I think, yeah, we had conversed earlier that you were done with yours. You had sent in you had requested the template, and then you had sent the notification that the chapter had all voted on it and approved and everything was done. Yeah.
Thank you.
We have a few chapters discussing in chat about their use of TikTok, and I'll let y'all read those responses. Are there any other questions from folks on the line?
So there's one question from Sharon, how do you approve videos? And I'm thinking that Sharon, you're probably asking your fellow presidents within your chapter, within chapters, how do they approve videos or content maybe that is put up on behalf of the chapter? Is there a review process that your chapter follows at the local level? And who does that include? Okay. So anyone, if your chapters, if you have videos and content that your chapter kind of reviews and approves, at your local chapter level, what is that process that you follow? And feel free to come off mic and explain or describe in the chat. I might ask Hayes County chapter, since you mentioned you have several informational videos on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, what is your chapter's process for kind of reviewing those and having them approved before they're actually posted?
All right, well, I'll try and come online. This is Bob. So for our videos, we have a social media team that reviews stuff before it goes out. And we're trying to balance being fun and following kind of the themes that these short form videos take with being correct informationally as well. So it's not a super formal process. We didn't want to stifle creativity of all the members going out and doing things, but we only have a couple people that can release those videos.
Cool. So, but what I heard is that you do have a social media committee that consists of a couple of people, and things are reviewed at that level before they're actually posted.
Oh, that's correct.
Great. So there's a question in the chat, and I don't know who's logged in as the Region 2 TMN WebEx account today. The person indicates they're new to finding or writing grants, and does anyone have suggestions on how to find or write one?
Michelle, I see Sherry's suggestion that having a grant opportunities or a grant writing discussion in an upcoming chapter presidents meeting or maybe at the annual meeting would be a great way to bring in some partners. I'm thinking Texan by Nature. They have a
That'd be great.
great conservation grant writing team and focus. So I'll put the word out to them to see if they'd be interested in hosting a session or a training, either virtually or in person at the annual meeting.
Oh, thanks, Christine.
Okay, Michelle, I'm going to stop the recording. If there's more questions, we can stay on for just a little while longer. Otherwise, we're giving a little bit of time back to y'all. And thank you guys so very much for joining us today.